up, wrestling fans.
You ungrateful garbage!
How you doing this evening, gentlemen?
We are doing just fine. My name's Tommy Stryker. Joining me this week is Taco over there.
What up?
This is Strong Honor, where we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor Wrestling. And we're just kind of just getting started on this reboot of this show. Some of you listeners may be familiar with us from the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. Some of you may not, may be brand new to the show, and if you are, thanks for checking it out. If you're not new to the show, but you're checking it out on bestprowrestlingpodcast.com or on the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast feed, there is an individual feed for this show. It will be going up on iTunes, but not as of yet. Still working out some things, getting a new logo for the show. That's in the works. Got Spot Monkey Media working on that right now.
Yes.
Same company that designed the logo for Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. So that's in the works. We're going to get it up on iTunes. So things are kind of moving on slowly, but there is a dedicated feed for Strong Honor. You should be able to click on that on bestprowrestlingpodcast.com. Just find the latest episode of Strong Honor, and you can click on the link to the feed there, I believe. If not, you'll be able to just do a search for it sometime pretty soon, probably within the next couple of weeks or so. We'll get it up on iTunes and Stitcher and TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll retweet it out.
Right. So,
and so will you.
Exactly. You got to help us out. Spread the word that Strong Honor is a thing. There's tons and tons and tons of pro wrestling podcasts, mostly talking WWE, but not as many that just focus on Ring of Honor and New Japan, to be specific. So
yeah,
we're the niche of the niche of the niche here. So hopefully we can get some listeners going for this show.
It's kind of fun though, because it's like, obviously, like especially in my case, I've only kind of been really consistent with it with the past year or so. So it's kind of fun, kind of growing in the spot with New Japan and talking about it on the podcast. So
right, and even for me, I've really only been following New Japan since Wrestle Kingdom 9, and once New Japan World became a thing, and Dominion from later that same year, I believe 2015 now, so just a little over 2 years, I've been kind of following New Japan. So both of us kind of newbies to New Japan and really following Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's really fun, man, this technology thing and having access to it. Back in the day, it was like, maybe we got to see clips of a match or something. Right. I was like fucking finding that porn stash, like, I should be watching this. How am I?
Well, even before, the couple of years before New Japan World was a thing, I remembered hearing about like the G1 Climax and really wanting to like get into it, like not knowing anything about it, but it's like just hearing about this epic Japanese tournament and not really knowing anything about it, but just wanting to check it out. But like the only way to like watch it was to like buy this like $120 or $150 package. And
shit!
It was just like this list of all. I mean, we kept up with the G1 Climax this year.
Yep.
If you don't know what it is and you just have a list of everything, it's like, what the hell am I looking at here?
It's confusing.
And so those first couple of years when I was just curious about New Japan, just being overwhelmed by it, but getting more and more familiar with it over the past couple of years has been a lot of fun and very rewarding. Talking about it on this podcast and on our other podcast, the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, it's been a lot of fun just getting familiar with that, and hopefully this podcast can be an outlet for other people to get familiar with it if it's something that you want to do.
Hey.
So that being said, let's jump right in. Let's kind of save, like, there's a lot of Ring of Honor stuff to kind of digest. And I know you only got to see the one of the matches from Death Before Dishonor, let's talk. Let's kind of start with the New Japan stuff for the final Destruction show, Destruction in Kobe from Sunday. Now I know you only got to see the main event.
Yeah, I've been busy, but I had to squeeze that one in.
Hey,
for sure.
I understand too, and that's the thing too is I don't want to shame you, myself, or anybody for missing out on like if you just don't have time. That's not what we're not going to give you a hard time on this podcast for missing out on something.
Sharing knowledge here.
I mean, no mercy. Mercy
we're watching things, man.
Right. It's like some New Japan and Ring of Honor podcasts, whatever. That's all they do is watch New Japan and Ring of Honor. They skip the WWE, and that's understandable. Some people, it's just not their cup of tea. But me, I'm taking it all in.
Having fun with a new toy still.
I'm taking it in as much as I can of this stuff, and so it can be very overwhelming. Like I spent 5 hours catching up on WWE stuff today, but nevertheless, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking New Japan Destruction, the final show, Kobe, from Sunday. If I'm talking kind of about all three of the Destruction shows as a whole, I think the second one was probably my favorite, the one in Hiroshima with Tanahashi and Zack Sabre Jr. as the main event.
Sure.
I really liked that one. This show, really the best match of the show was the one that you saw, Kenny Omega taking on Juice Robinson for the IWGP U.S. title. This, Kenny Omega's first defense of the U.S. title since winning it in the tournament, back before the G1 Climax started, back in the G1 Special in U.S., the big tournament that was held in Long Beach earlier this summer. So this was his first big title defense, him kind of seeking to avenge the loss to Juice Robinson that where he got the kind of the roll-up loss, the fluke loss, some people call it, to Juice Robinson in the actual G1 Climax tournament. One of Juice's few wins in the tournament over Kenny Omega, who has not lost many matches this year at all. So great place to start. Just as far as a star rating, I haven't looked to see what other people have rated it as of yet, but for me, I gave it 4.5. Really good match, really good storytelling in the thing, with Kenny Omega coming off of the meniscus orthoscopic surgery a few weeks back. Him kind of, I just like the way that he sold the injury, and
it brings him down a few pegs to face someone like Juice, though.
I like how he worked the psychology of it in the match too. Is that he's selling the knee, but Juice is like the ultra baby face. So the beginning part of the match, like Juice is like, I'm not going to go after the leg, I'm going to out wrestle you. But then when he gets frustrated and Kenny Omega is obviously kind of playing possum a bit, selling the leg at times when it's to his advantage, but then running amok and running like crazy, and obviously the knee isn't bothering him at all. At other points in the match, Juice finally gets frustrated and goes after the leg. So I kind of liked how just the psychology of like Juice being the ultra babyface, like, I'm not going to go after the leg, but then he kind of just finally gets frustrated, especially with Kenny kind of working both angles there and finally going after the leg at one point in the match. So I did like all of that. We did have the kind of the tease, the callback to how Juice won the match at the G1 Climax, with kind of getting a victory roll for a near fall out of the one-winged angel position. So that was fun, kind of fun. After the second one-winged angel attempt, that was when Juice finally did chop block the knee and start going after it. But then he almost gets a little too heelish and goes for like the figure four around the post and everything there.
So he got it. It's Kenny Omega. He's on top of his game right now.
Taking it to another level,
So, that's what I was saying. You want to see that out of Juice because, you got to bring him down a little bit because, he's riding a wave right now.
So talk about, like, you kind of hinted at the idea that Kenny Omega in this big main event match, is that, to you, that kind of takes Kenny Omega down a notch, you think?
I'm not saying, putting him in the having the U.S. title on him. I'm just saying, like, you think of Kenny Omega's year right now, and it's just like, wow, and like Juice is like, fuck yeah, Juice, like he's having a good year too, but it's
certainly not on the Kenny Omega level.
Yeah, it's nothing, everyone's gonna remember. But besides his G1, I say,
and besides this match,
this match though is a good example of it. You look at this match and you kind of have to give something, put something in Kenny Omega's corner that's kind of going to tone him down a little bit, kind of not have that extra pep in his step.
We got to talk about this part here. Omega, they're working on the apron. Omega hits a standing suplex off the apron onto the floor. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah.
They tease doing a standing suplex out of the ring all the time, and it never happens.
Right.
It never happens.
Never.
And they do this off the apron, which is pretty much just as devastating.
Right.
But just such a brutal-looking bump for Juice, and props to him for taking that. We'll get into some brutal-looking bumps and brutal-looking takings of some things when we get into the Ring of Honor conversation. Juice does hit the pulp friction in the match for a very close near fall in the match. Thought that was a little bit interesting. I was wondering how much they would protect Juice's finishing maneuver in this match. Of course, with Kenny having this amazing year, if you're going to pick a guy to kick out of your finisher, right. Kenny Omega is the guy. But I was curious to see if they would protect it in the match. They didn't, but again, Kenny Omega kicking out
Kenny Omega
in a big match spot like this, I thought added to the drama of the match. Juice does kick out of a J Driller after 3 Snapdragon suplexes and several V triggers. There was that sequence in the match where, Kenny Omega was just going off the Snapdragon suplexes, starts hitting
they're so nasty,
hitting
too.
4 or 5 V triggers in a row, then a J Driller, and Juice kicking out. So, again, a near fall, but just the build up to it and the V triggers and the Snapdragons, it builds to that drama. Indeed it was Kenny Omega getting the win with the most wicked one-winged angel I think I've ever seen. Robinson puts Omega up on the second rope, or he's sitting on the top rope, and Juice is going for a super pulp friction from the top rope, and Omega counters into the second rope super one-winged angel.
Man.
I replayed this thing 4 or 5 times. I love how, I don't know, here's the thing. Robinson is probably fine. I hope he is. Whatever. But just the way he didn't move for 10 minutes. He just laid there the entire
selling it.
The entire Omega celebration. Fucking Yoshihashi coming out challenging him for or that may have even been. I think that was the post match backstage where Yoshihashi.
I missed that part.
Yeah, that was backstage. But nevertheless, Omega stands in the ring, cuts a promo. The streamers shoot off, all that stuff that goes on for 5 or 10 minutes. The entire time, Juice is laying there. He doesn't move.
Wow, I missed all of that part. That's awesome.
So, he finally, after Omega finally leaves, the couple of young lions do help him out. He does walk to the back with a couple of guys helping him, so he didn't get carted off.
I wish he was carried off in the bodyguard.
But I even liked him laying there for 10 minutes, whatever it was, and then still kind of, in a way, not on his own power, but walking off with help.
Needs that assistance.
A really fantastic sell job after just taking a brutal-looking one-winged angel.
Especially right after that suplex.
God, right. And I love him selling his ribs in his midsection after that point throughout the match. Juice going for some big moves at points, but not able to pull them off, kind of selling
some
the
of
ribs.
Those Japanese girls will be happy to take care of him.
Yes. I'm sure he enjoyed a wonderful massage at some point after that match. Maybe him and Rocky might have went to Roppongi and enjoyed some nightlife, perhaps after that match. Let's talk some of the undercard. I know you didn't get to see it, but it's worth going through it a little bit here. Katsuya Kitamura again teaming up with Tomoyuki Oka. I think Tomoyuki is his first name. Anyway, Oka and Kitamura, who are looking to team up in the World Tag League starting up in November. Apparently they're going to be known, or want to be known, as Monster Rage. So maybe stealing a line from Alex Riley, perhaps there. They took on Hirai Kawato and Hiroyoshi Tenzan. Remember last week I was talking about, hey, maybe Kawato could get a win. No. Of course, it's Tenzan getting the win over Oka with the Anaconda Vice. A fine match, nothing much to speak of there. Big 10-man tag with Suzuki Gun, Iizuka, Sasuke El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Taka Michinoku, and Tai Chi taking on Jushin Thunder Liger, Ricochet, and Taguchi, the current IWGP Junior Tag Champs, Togi Makabe, and Tiger Mask. Again, it was Makabe getting the win over Taka Michinoku with the King Kong knee drop. Feels like they're building up to a Makabe never title shot against Minoru Suzuki at some point.
Not mad at that.
And again, Ricochet and Taguchi going to be defending their junior titles versus Roppongi 3K.
Oh.
We don't know who it is yet.
Do we have any hints yet?
I haven't heard any hints, but I have a bit of speculation.
Oh.
And I don't know if it might be spoilery, but I haven't. Here's the thing: is I haven't seen it anywhere else. Haven't heard anybody else speculate on it. Maybe the entire internet is speculating on it, and I'm just late to the party.
I haven't seen anything.
I think. Do you want to hear what my thoughts possibly are? Possible spoiler alert here.
Possible spoilers.
I'm thinking it might be the Tempura Boys coming back.
Ah, yes.
They've been in Ring of Honor for quite some time. Before that, in CMLL, but looking good over in Ring of Honor. So I think it might be those guys coming back to New Japan, and maybe Rocky moving into that managerial role a little bit. That's kind of what he hinted at on the post-show press conference on this, talking about I'm bringing in two guys, and they're going to face Taguchi and Ricochet for those titles, and it's going to be me in their corner, Rocky said. So,
all right.
Interesting stuff there. We'll look forward to that at possibly King of Pro Wrestling here. That's coming up in just a couple of weeks here already. October 9th, my brother's birthday, King of Pro Wrestling. So just a few days before the Ring of Honor show in Chicago that I am also going to. But that big Ring of Honor house show tour going on that weekend. So, and again, that's the next WWE pay-per-view is on the 8th. Of October, so we got a big show on the 8th.
God damn!
So lots of big stuff coming. Other stuff going back to Destruction in Kobe. Bad Luck Fale teaming up with Chase Owens, taking on Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. Again, Yoshihashi and Goto rumored to be tagging up in the World Tag League. Those two getting the win here, Yoshihashi over Chase Owens with Karma. Again, I thought good offense from Chase Owens here. Maybe Chase Owens looking to team up with Bad Luck Fale in the tournament. But
let's do it up.
Owens, for a guy who's literally just a guy there to be the loser in the Bullet Club, I've really liked his last few performances on these Destruction shows. For a guy who's just a guy, he's had some fun offense, and I've enjoyed his matches have entertained me. And so that's kind of what you look forward to. That's what you look for.
Hold your own
in these undercard matches. So. Then the first singles match for Beretta in the heavyweight division. He took on Yujiro Takahashi from the Bullet Club. They did a good job building this up over these Destruction shows and the Road to Destruction shows, with Beretta getting a couple of tag wins over Yujiro getting a couple of wins here and there on the road to this. Beretta does get the win with the Dude Buster. I thought this was decent. It started off a bit slow. I only gave this one 3 stars. A good match. But like I said, started off a bit slow, but I did like the good back and forth near falls towards the end. It really built up late in the match. I thought that was pretty good. So there was that. Then the 3-way tornado tag match for the IWGP heavyweight tag team titles. This the 3rd time we've seen this match, but a little bit a slight variation in the rules this time, because last time, you remember, it was the Gorillas of Destiny who hit their finisher, but they were not the legal team.
Yep.
So this time everybody's legal all the time, no tagging necessary.
Good. Tornado
rules in play. This time War Machine come out last. They're the champions. They don't even get in the ring. They stand out in the aisleways in the crowd, and they say, "Come on, let's take this fight right into the crowd." They just brawl, go crazy through the crowd. Gorillas of Destiny take out Lance Archer on the ramp. Ray Rowe slams Hanson onto the Davey Boy Smith Jr. on a table on the floor, so effectively kind of taking out both of the Killer Elite squad. So it comes down to the Gorillas of Destiny and War Machine. War Machine hit Fallout, but then Davey Boy Smith Jr. pulls the referee out, so they can't hit the 3 count. This was after a long while of both the Killer Elite squad guys being down and the other 2 teams going at it for a while. Then the Killer Elite Squad put Hanson through a table, and the Killer Elite Squad get the win with the Killer Bomb over Ray Rowe.
Wow.
After the match, Rowe and Hanson very upset at the Killer Elite Squad.
And they should be.
They're upset because of the pulling the referee out of the ring. Gorillas of Destiny equally as upset. The post-match press conference, both the Gorillas of Destiny and Hanson and Rowe bringing up the idea of an elimination tag match. So again, it's going to be these three same teams at King of Pro Wrestling for a fourth time, this time in an elimination tag match.
That.
So, that's the thing is, I have, as much as people say that these, oh my God, it's the same three teams, it's the same match over and over and over again. But I feel like they've done enough to keep the matches interesting. I haven't been bored by the matches.
No, fuck no.
And they've kept them interesting, and I am actually interested in watching this match.
Yeah, it shows fourth time. How to efficiently use, multiple tag teams in one match, and you can get away with it for a good feud for a month, 2 months, or whatever. And
the first two matches, they kept War Machine, the former champs, but they kept them strong for those first two matches. Sure. Those two retaining, but then the shenanigans kind of coming into play in this match.
Yep.
So we get the elimination style. I think Killer Elite Squad are going to keep it again. Of course, your Suzuki Gun shenanigans are definitely probably in play. There, and I'm thinking the Killer Elite Squad probably end up keeping the title probably through Wrestle Kingdom, and then whoever ends up winning World Tag League, probably War Machine, because they feel like the most over tag team on the babyface side at this point. Them probably winning World Tag League and going on to Wrestle Kingdom. Kind of my prediction at this point. But
this motherfucker's so awesome, though.
Yeah. War Machine's been a lot of fun. And anytime that they get upset and they're yelling and screaming in the back tends to be a fun thing. So then it was Hiroshi Tanahashi and Michael Elgin teaming up against Kota Ibushi and David Finlay. Interesting here because, again, we're building up to Kota Ibushi versus Tanahashi, with Kota Ibushi having the win over Tanahashi in the G1.
Yeah.
So Tanahashi challenging Ibushi to defend his IC title at King of Pro Wrestling.
That'll be a fucking stellar match.
So at one point in the match, Elgin stops Ibushi from hitting his new finisher, I'm sorry if I pronounce it bad here, and I've heard Kevin Kelly pronounce it all kinds of different ways now, but I believe it's the Kamigoye, or I wanted to say Kamigoye, but I think it's the Kamigoye is what Kevin Kelly was calling it. Anyway, it's a knee strike where Ibushi has both of the wrists held.
Yes.
And so Elgin stops him from hitting that at one point in the match. Elgin does get the win over Finlay in the match with the
suck it, Finlay.
the buckle bomb and the sit out power bomb combo. So
that
Elgin
guy does nothing for me. Finlay.
Finlay. He needs something. His in-ring is good. He has solid energy, good fire. But yeah, it's just there's nothing there, right?
Yeah, I don't. It's just like he's trying to look like punk rock almost, but he's not. He's just there.
Yeah,
for someone that's like pink trunks or the goofy shit he's wearing, like it's not too goofy, I guess, but he just doesn't stick out at all.
Yeah, he's someone that could probably benefit from an excursion like what Jay White's doing, but send him to the UK to Ring of Honor.
Drop the Finlay name.
I don't know about dropping the Finlay name, but I mean, just do something different. I feel like he's trying to stand out in all the wrong ways, but I don't really have an answer to what it is. It
just looks like to me like he's just like I said, like kind of like the punk rock attitude, not trying to be the Finlay name, but still use the Finlay name. So, just, I don't know, kind of drop it for a little bit, try to make something out of yourself. And
might not be a bad idea.
Bring it back, show everyone's like, oh, fuck, he's a Finlay?
Something new.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I could see, something's got to happen anyway.
Or fucking just keep getting paid.
There's that too, I guess. But then again, he's not gonna rise up. He's not gonna gain any momentum. Just kind of, he's gonna be at that Chase Owens level, just kind of, he's above a young lion, but the kind of the lowest form of a lower card or mid card guy.
He's a power bottom.
Gonna be the loser in situations like this. Exactly. Then we had a 6-man tag: Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, and Rocky Romero teaming up against Naito, Sonata, and Bushi. This again building up to Ishii taking on Naito for the briefcase at King of Pro Wrestling here on October 9th. Naito does focus all of his energy on Ishii and his taped right leg at points in the match. It was Ishii getting the win with the brainbuster over Bushi. Ishii attacks Naito after the match. So when those two got in there early in this match, they were really going after each other. These two are going to have a hell of a match. And it's funny, too, because New Japan does a really good job telling these stories, but these matches are very predictable. It's I don't think anybody in the world thinks that Ishii is going to beat Naito for the briefcase to go on to the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. Because, think about it.
It would forfeit that whole storyline.
It forfeits the two basically your number 1 and 2 guy in New Japan. Yeah. You can make an argument for Kenny Omega, of course, but Naito, hugely popular right now. Okada on an awesome roll. You throw, but if you think about it though, too, there is a good story. Let's make an argument for it. All right. Okay, so Ishii, he defeated Okada in last year's G1 Climax. Never got a rematch. Never got a shot at the IWGP title. So if he wins and beats Naito here, he goes on to the main event at Wrestle Kingdom to face Okada for the title, provided Okada keeps the title. Remember, Okada is facing Evil. So if Ishii beats Naito and goes on to the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, it's 2 Chaos guys, Ishii and Okada, both Chaos members for the championship. Same thing if
Evil wins.
If Evil wins the title from Okada and
how funny is that to say?
And Naito keeps the briefcase, it's going to be Evil and Naito, both members of Los Ingobernables de Japón, going on for the titles for the title at Wrestle Kingdom. Again, both things probably absolutely not going to happen. Kind of fun to speculate, but again, just because it's predictable doesn't mean that the matches won't be filled with drama and fun to watch. So
Los Ingobernables de Japan.
Thank you, Vince Russo, for
Dijon.
But a fun bit of speculation there. But either way, Ishii versus Naito, I'm very much looking forward
really good.
To that match.
Now, when I was kind of skimming through the event to get to the main event, when I watched it, I saw them both in the ring. I was like, oh my God, this is happening now? Oh, no, it's not.
Just a tag match. Just a
tag match.
Yeah. Another fun situation we're building up to. We were just talking Okada and Evil. Another tag match. Evil teaming up with Hiromu Takahashi, facing Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay. So again, Okada and Evil building up to their King of Pro Wrestling match. Okada defending the IWGP Heavyweight title. But I like this little side story in here of Takahashi and Ospreay the cat.
The kitty cat. He's a cat.
I really hope we get a singles match out of these two.
Oh, we got it at
some
point.
I'm going to flip over to my King of Pro Wrestling card here and see where we're at here. Well, it is going to be Kushida versus Will Ospreay for the junior title because it was Ospreay that challenged Kushida right after the title defense versus El Desperado.
That's right.
From the Hiroshima Destruction show. Remember, it was Hiromu who came down to get involved, but Will Ospreay knocked him out with one punch.
Yep.
So a little bit of speculation here. I foresee these two having a really great match. Remember, Ospreay has never defeated Kushida. Ospreay's first match, ever for New Japan was against Kushida for the IWGP Junior title. Lost that when Will Ospreay won the Best of the Super Juniors. Couldn't defeat him there. So Kushida has Ospreay's number. On the English commentary for this show, Kevin Kelly talked a little bit about how when Hiromu Takahashi was the champion during this year's Best of the Super Juniors, he was kind of looking forward to facing Will Ospreay in the finals of the tournament had Ospreay won the tournament. But nevertheless, we know now it was Kushida who won the thing, went on to regain the IWGP Junior title. So that kind of fuels the fire with this Takahashi and Ospreay kind of side story here. Wouldn't be surprised if Takahashi gets involved at King of Pro Wrestling, maybe building up to a three-way between those three, either at Power Struggle or maybe more likely at Wrestle Kingdom.
Maybe with a distraction with Daryl.
Daryl distraction, Hiromu outright getting involved in the match. Who knows? You could go a lot of ways. I do like that New Japan is usually, especially on these bigger shows, sticks with clean finishes. So, but you never know what could happen after the match. I would really like if Will Ospreay actually got the win here and actually became the IWGP Junior Champion. That would make for a really cool story going into Wrestle Kingdom, certainly going into Power Struggle. But yeah, for the rest of the year with Kushida and Hiromu in the mix there would really make for a fun story going forward. Back to this tag match though. It was Ospreay getting the win with the Os Cutter over Hiromu in the match. Okada, he's still selling the upper back and neck. He's all taped up in the match. You know how, I thought this was funny. You know how in New Japan, when the wrestlers are running at each other, right before they hit each other, they shout each other's name like, Okada! At one point, they're doing this the thing running back and forth, and Evil keeps doing that. He's Okada! Okada! And hitting. And then all of a sudden, Okada switches it up and then shouts, Watanabe! That's like his real name that he used to go by before he was Evil. So I thought that was hilarious when he busted out Watanabe during the match. Ospreay does a little bit of his obnoxious selling that he is a little bit known for in the match, just overselling chops and whatnot like that. So I remember in previous podcasts I said I enjoyed most of Ospreay's selling, and other people had been critical of how
that was me
over the top it can be, and this was definitely an example of Ospreay being.
It's not bad. It's just it's not good.
Right, and that's the thing is I've seen him definitely be good, but this was an instance where it stood out as okay, just settle down a little bit. You're being a bit too obnoxious, and that was the case in this match.
Another example why he's a cat.
Yeah, he's overselling it. He's got 9 lives. Might as well burn them up, I guess. Evil hits Darkness, falls for a near fall after a chair throwing spot. Okada stops Evil's STO on Ospreay late and hits the big Rainmaker, essentially taking out Evil so that Ospreay can get the Os Cutter and get the win over Hiromu. So that was pretty much the destination show. Like I said, we got we got a couple of weeks before King of Pro Wrestling, so we'll do a full preview of that in the coming weeks here. So let's get into some Ring of Honor now and talk about Death Before Dishonor. And I'm looking for my little Ring of Honor deal here. Yeah, Death Before Dishonor. It was a fun pay-per-view. It really was. Let's start with the main event because I think that's where a lot of the curiosity lies. Cody Rhodes, or just Cody, I should say, taking on Minoru Suzuki for the Ring of Honor championship. I didn't much care for this match, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, you looked pretty butthurt on Twitter.
I was. What did I? Do you remember what I compared it to? I thought
I don't know.
I think it was. I remember what it was, because I was watching the next day. I was watching No Mercy, or no, 2 days later, because this was on Friday.
Yep.
I said the Bray Wyatt Finn Balor match was more interesting to me than Cody versus Minoru Suzuki, and I really enjoy Minoru Suzuki matches.
See, I gotta figure out a way to watch this one because I know, like, you on Cody, you're not so high on him,
right?
Or kind of me, I am a little bit. Like, I have been happy with what he's been doing outside of the WWE ring. So, I'm curious about this one.
Yeah, if I get a chance, I'll show it to you for sure. But to me, it just felt like pardon the pun here, but it was a styles clash. It was a clash of styles. It just didn't feel right. And I think the other thing that might have suffered from here is having to squeeze it into the time left allowed on the pay-per-view. Again, a lot of matches on this show, a long show, and I believe they only had a certain, they had to be done by a certain time.
Sure.
So to me, the finish felt rather abrupt. Okay. It was Cody getting the win with the Crossroads, which, again, I'm not a fan of the Crossroads move. I think I mentioned that on Twitter as well. And look, it's nothing against Cody Rhodes. Cody they just announced it at the TV tapings that Cody has finally signed the quote most lucrative deal in Ring of Honor history. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But it's what they're putting out there. But good for Cody, and it's obviously good for Ring of Honor if it's bringing new eyes to Ring of Honor.
Well, it sounds like they're just doing bigger and bigger events as it is.
Well, right. I mean, you got this big house show tour coming up. I credit Young Bucks and Kenny Omega a lot for this big Chicago show selling out, but certainly Cody and the Bullet Club being a big part of that. So I can't take anything away from that. And a part of it for me too is I'm just a big I'm such a mark for good heels. Like if somebody is a good heel, I don't like them. And Cody is a really good. He is a good heel. So I get worked. I get into it.
I just like what he's doing. Like his wife even being on the Elite this week when they decided to invade WWE and it wasn't that much of an invasion. Let's be real, but that's kind of the humor.
Neither was the WWE invasion of WCW.
But there are times when he's on top of a limo and he starts doing a big speech to hype everyone up, and then it's the fucking speech from Independence Day, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Well, if you look at his wife, Brandy, she's kind of mouthing some of the parts with him, so it's like they're both deep into this, and that's awesome to see.
Skrull or somebody's like, is he doing the Independence Day? She's just go with it. He's on a roll. Just let him go. And so he's a great heel. I kind of want to get into. We'll get into Ring of Honor TV this week too, because they have the Honor Rumble with Cody on commentary and everything.
Really? I thought it was just a throwaway show.
Fuck. And that's the thing. It kind of was. But there's a little bit to talk about there. But again, for me, I'm a mark for it. So with Cody being the dastardly Bullet Club heel that he is, I'm like, oh fuck this guy. He's a heel.
Yep.
And so it's just kind of a lot of it is just me getting worked here. Okay, well, Suzuki, he bites the ring. He bites the ring of honor, of course. Cody wants him to kiss the ring. He bites the ring. Gets him in an armbar. Cody uses Brandy as a human shield to cut off Suzuki. Then Cody has the Hollywood Cody boots on, so kind of Hollywood Hogan-esque.
Yeah.
So he's really working it up here.
You kind of got to stick out more as the heel when you're in there with Suzuki, though, too.
Exactly. And again, it's funny, too, because Suzuki being the dastardly heel, and I hate Suzuki in New Japan with all the bullshit, all these Suzuki gun shenanigans. But Suzuki, on his own here, Ring of Honor has done a great job selling him as this menace, this dangerous fighter, and even Cody selling the idea that I'm going to use my wife as a human shield to get an advantage on this fucker because I'm afraid of him. He's running scared of Minoru Suzuki. So Ring of Honor did a really good job building him up as this legit scary guy. Cody selling it as this chicken shit heel. Yep. And so it was working in that aspect of it. And so I think the reason why I didn't like the match is because Suzuki didn't win. I'm just a mark, probably pretty much is how it goes. But it did feel like it was cut off short. It didn't feel like watching the Suzuki matches in the G1, for example, even when there was all the bullshit involved, it still felt like a different match, and I didn't get that same vibe in this match with Cody.
There's something actually on the line with the G1, and this was just an appearance.
Kind of, yeah. And even though I wanted it to feel more competitive. There were at no point in the match was I really invested in near falls. It never really got to that point. All of a sudden, it was Cody hitting crossroads and getting the win. And so like I'm used to these New Japan matches kind of building up, and I think Suzuki was too. And I don't know this for a fact, but it felt like they got short on time. They ran out of time, had to take it home, and it just kind of was what it was. So. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the match, but a good match nonetheless. Decent match, I should say.
Good main event.
For me, my favorite match on the show was a match that I did show you earlier today.
Yeah.
Jay Lethal versus Silas Young, last man standing match.
This whole feud has been awesome, dude.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. They've pretty much been building this thing for a year, starting at best or. Oh crap! What's the the end of the year pay-per-view? Of course, I don't have it written down on this one yet.
Shit, I don't even have a smart-ass comment.
Anyway, they've done a good job. The internet's screaming at us right now, whatever it is. But anyway, they've done a really good job building this feud throughout the year. And I know a lot of people haven't been as high on a guy like Silas Young as I have. I know you and Joe have really come around. Joe, our other co-host from Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, you guys both have kind of come around a little bit more on Silas Young. And I said on Twitter after this match, if you were not a fan of Silas Young or didn't have any respect for him before this match and you watched this match,
I saw the results of it, so I'm so glad we watched this match.
Lethal hits the Russian leg sweep on the bare floor early in the match, so that was a little bit crazy. Then it gets crazier. Silas Young steals Bobby Cruz's belt. He's the ring announcer.
Starts stripping his ass.
Stripping the ring announcer. But then Lethal gets a hold of the belt, and he whips the shit out of Silas Young. He goes nuts. The guy has welts. I'm sure everybody's probably seen the pictures. You saw the
fucking bruises forming on his back, just getting worse and worse.
It was so fucking brutal. The Beer City Bruiser comes out and attacks Lethal. He goes for that big top rope splash through the table on the floor.
Oh man!
But this time, Lethal moves. Thank God. Now
big bada boom.
Beer City Bruiser is taken out for a big part of the last bit of the match with him going through the table. Then it right after that spot, Jay Lethal hits a big cutter through the other table. A bit of almost lethal injection through
it was out of nowhere.
Definitely out of nowhere. Through another table right after the Beer City Bruiser goes to the table. Then Silas gets his turn whipping Lethal with the belt. Didn't notice as bad of welts on Lethal, but it got worse for Lethal. Silas kicks out of a figure 4 attempt, and Lethal clunks his head with the referee, and this busts Lethal open. The referee's head is made of, I don't know, rocks and razors or something.
Dude has a big fucking head. That's just a big old brick.
But but the ref selling it too, but staying with it enough to make 10 counts because it's a last man standing match. I thought the ref did a good job there. If blood was the plan, they did a really good job getting the hard way blood with the double noggin knocker between Lethal and the ref. That was just a spectacular situation there. Silas stops the count at 7 and hits a lethal injection. Yes, Silas hit a lethal injection on Lethal. Then he gets the ladder. Lethal tastes the Macho Man elbow from the top of the ladder. The crowd chants, "Please don't die." Silas comes back, gets off the table, takes Lethal out with a chair on the ladder, climbs the ladder, ties Lethal to the top of the ladder with a zip tie.
Oh, God, that was a spot that kind of started me like, come on.
Well, then the ladder tips over with both of them on it. They both go through a table on the ladder. Lethal does slip out of the zip tie, but it didn't matter. Lethal couldn't get up. Silas barely gets up, barely makes the 10 count. Silas Young, the winner of the last man standing match. And boy,
good match.
Just like I said, took a beating. This is interesting here, though. Ring of Honor kind of started off as a company basically known for its in-ring
shake hands before every match,
the mat work, the honorable, exactly. And the stuff that's really stood out over this past year or so has been kind of these no rules, hardcore style matches, and which I have not been really a fan of that much. But I think maybe it's because Ring of Honor has done them sparingly.
You're not seeing them on fucking Monday night every, once a month, or Vegas no DQ match, or fucking Santa Claus is in town no DQ match.
Right. I mean, we play it all of the time. Oops, where's my cursor here? On our other podcast, whenever a match has no rules, we play this.
This match, anything goes.
And we play it a lot on the other podcast.
We do.
But talking about New Japan and Ring of Honor, it doesn't get played as much because it's usually selected for pay-per-views, big events.
To end the big feuds how they should be done. Lethal's taken out Beer City Bruiser. He's been feuding with Silas.
Yeah.
And vice versa. These guys have just been literally beating this shit out of each other. Okay, anything goes, and fucking go all out. And these guys do.
Yeah. Like I said, it's crazy how these matches have stood out. But again, Ring of Honor just kind of supposed to be known for more just straight up wrestling.
And it's awesome that Elias won too, because we know Lethal's a badass. How long was he a world champion for them?
Silas, you said Elias.
Oh, did I? Sorry, I'm walking with them.
It's all good. It's all good, brother.
But fucking Lethal though, he was champ for the longest time. So it's good that other talent can win in a spot like this too.
Right. Yeah, and really elevating Silas Young.
Yeah, I got you thinking now.
I got screwed up with that Elias stuff. But this program, this feud has really elevated Silas Young in my book, and hopefully a lot of other fans. I've really enjoyed him through this program. So other stuff from Death Before Dishonor. Remember, they really hyped up this idea that it was going to be the Young Bucks in 2 matches and the 6-man guys in 2 matches. It really ended up kind of being an angle. Excuse me, I'm dying here.
Oh, they honey-dicked us.
Bully Ray and the Briscoes, they did defeat the Kingdom. This was the opening match, so it would be Bully Ray and the Briscoes going on to face the Hung Bucks. Now remember, where's Adam Page? Where's Hangman? Hashtag where's Hangman? So that comes into play.
I saw that all the seats in the arena had posters, missing flyers for him too.
The Bully Club distributed where's Hangman posters before the match. But
it's a Kingdom conspiracy.
Well, it was Bully Ray and Mark Briscoe kind of getting the win here, and Jay Briscoe kind of looking disturbed after the match, and throws a chair at TKO Ryan. Jay Briscoe blind tags in on Bully Ray at one point and gets thrown into Bully after a Jay Driller attempt, knocking Bully to the floor. So there's tension between Bully and Jay Briscoe for sure. That's building up. So later in the show, when it came to the Hung Bucks and where did it go here? Basically, didn't I write? Oh yeah, there it is. So basically, what happened is Page comes out. Well, Page does emerge after, not right away, but he does come out, and he's got duct tape on his mouth and on his wrists, and he comes in the match and he runs wild, hits a moonsault off the top to the floor with
duct tape,
with his hands duct taped
together.
Goddamn! Yep, you can find that GIF out there on Twitter.
I don't know how I missed that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He hits the big moonsault. They do the get the table spot, but Mark accidentally knocks out Bully with a table. Well, not accidentally, actually. He has the table, and he throws it into Bully Ray. Bully gets knocked down, and Page gets the win over Bully Ray. So the Hung Bucks retain the 6-man titles, but it ends up just being an angle, basically, with Jay Briscoe taking out Bully Ray with the table. And basically the angle of this whole thing, ever since Bully Ray kind of joined the Briscoes, he's kind of been overshadowing the Briscoes. He's been getting his own entrance, not coming out with the Briscoes.
Right.
And it's been all about Bully Ray and his spots, doing the what's up and get the tables and all of that. And so they really did a good job kind of displaying Jay Briscoe kind of getting frustrated with Bully Ray. And even after the 6-man match for the titles, Bully Ray saying, "Fuck that guy. We don't need his bullshit."
Right.
Kind of literally like swearing like that on
to his brother too.
Right, to Mark. And so that's kind of what the story is. They touched on it a little bit on Ring of Honor TV this week, but it was awkward because you could tell it was taped before all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so they kind of did the Coleman's pulpit thing, which was bad and is bad, and I had high hopes for, but it hasn't been good. But yeah, they did the interview with Mark Briscoe, who said Jay Briscoe's in a dark place and da 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 da, and they addressed it, but not really without really addressing it. So there was that. Other stuff from Death Before Dishonor: Chucky T versus Marty Scurll. It was a fine match. Nothing too great about it. Scurll was definitely more popular, despite his heel tactics that he always does. But it's to be expected at this point. Chuck does escape the chicken wing, hits his soul food, or otherwise known as Eat Defeat, for a big near fall. Hits a bunch of dives too quickly, and Scurll barely sells him. It was a weird spot where, because Chucky T is just hitting dive after dive after dive, and either both of them are going too quickly because like Scurll he like has to go to set up for the next dive, so he's not selling the first dive that he took. So it was just a little clunky there, but it was Scurll getting the win with the cross-face chicken wing. Jay White versus Punishment Martinez in a street fight. This one was a pretty good match too, and that's kind of the reason I brought up the stipulation, the no DQ
2-in-1
matches, because this was another one of those. But again, they had built up to this one too, with some regular matches, some shenanigans, some back and forth. Punishment Martinez, coming and interrupting, or not necessarily interrupting, but beating up Jay White after other matches and stuff like that. So they've done a good job building this up to the street fight that it was. Jay White sneak attacks Punishment Martinez with a chair. He's wearing white jeans, so that was kind of a fun touch there. Martinez swings a trash lid into a diving Jay White. White uses a chair and suplexes on Martinez. Martinez dives over the post to the floor onto Jay White. White uses the Kiwi Crusher for a near fall. He previously used that as a finisher and finished off guys, so this was the first time someone had kicked out of the Kiwi Crusher. Martinez hits a last ride powerbomb and a reverse fireman's for a very close near fall after a low blow. Then he goes into the finish after that low blow with the South of Heaven choke slam into the turnbuckles. Martinez getting the win. So two heels going over in the two big stipulation no DQ style matches there. So I was not really surprised in the Silas Young one. That one felt right. A little bit surprised with the Punishment Martinez win here, but they really did a good job building up Jay White. He pretty much.
I feel like Martinez needs it more.
Yeah, and White had won all the previous matches too between those two. So yeah, Martinez getting the win there. Kenny King versus Kushida for the TV title. This match, this one didn't do a ton for me, but Kenny King looked good, had a good match with Kushida. Kushida drop kicks King in a chair in front of his daughter at ringside. His daughter was at ringside. Kushida had his mother at ringside. Kushida gets aggressive and cocky before a big comeback by Kenny King again.
Daughter, fight his mother now.
This is Kenny King's hometown here, so him having a little bit of the crowd on his side, but Kushida definitely having fans on his side too. Kushida counters a fireman's into a triangle, then an armbar, then King counters that into a power bomb. Nicely worked back and forth into a hoverboard lock late, but it was Kenny King winning the TV title with the Royal Flush.
All right.
Bit of a surprise for me. Ring of Honor kind of has this reputation of putting the New Japan guys over here. And I even tweeted after this match, because Kushida lost, I thought, well, this definitely means Suzuki's going to win. So I predicted that Suzuki would win in the main event. Of course, we know that did not happen at this point. So New Japan kind of having a little more faith in Ring of Honor, or at least letting Ring of Honor book a couple of New Japan guys to take some losses here.
But Kushida's had that strap on him for some time right now too.
Exactly.
And
it was time to get it onto somebody else.
Yeah.
So. Another big match from the show, the semi-main event, Motor City Machine Guns taking on the Young Bucks for the tag titles. This is, of course, after all the Young Bucks, Hung Bucks stuff earlier in the show, but that match was not much of a match. It was mostly about the Hangman spot and the stuff between Bully and the Briscoes. So the Young Bucks not even really having a big part in the match, which was great because it really made this match stand out. This match told a really good story here because the Motor City Machine Guns, they painted a picture, the announcers did, and the Machine Guns themselves, of them kind of being an innovator of this tag team style that kind of the Young Bucks is known for right now, but the Motor City Machine Guns are maybe kind of a part of pioneering kind of this new tag team style. And so it was this battle back and forth, just countering everything, just going crazy. Amazing acrobatic sequences, so many counters. They hit a maid in Detroit for a big near fall. Everyone gets super kicked, including the referee. Then what happens? The Addiction come out and attack everybody, because it is the Addiction's job now to attack everything that everybody loves. But then everybody gets the double sharpshooters on the Addiction again. Then both teams team up, hitting double Indie Takers on the Addiction. So it was a really cool moment, because those Motor City Machine Guns and the Young Bucks having these ultra competitive back and forth, like I said, all the counters, all the back and forth, just so great. But then the Addiction come out and fuck it up, and so then they team up. They band together to take out the common foe of the Addiction. So I really liked that story. The knees on the I don't know what I don't know what this means. They do a German suplex knees counter to more bang for your buck, and then the Motor City Machine Guns get the win over the Young Bucks. The new Ring of Honor champions. The Bucks end up they actually hand the titles to the Motor City Machine Guns, kind of as a show of respect after the match. And
good for them.
Just a really good match. The crowd's chanting "Fight Forever." A really fun. A good match, and so Death Before Dishonor, definitely worth the pay-per-view price. I watched it on Fight TV, so $35. I think it was like either 40 or 45 on traditional cable. So if you're looking for an alternative, the Fight TV app is a really great alternative. And I know a lot of people looking for like the Roku apps and the Amazon apps. I personally just got the Amazon Fire Stick, which is really great for New Japan World, because they have an app for that on there. But you can't watch Fight TV
no
on
Fight
there.
TV.
So if you got Chromecast, it's great for that. Or if you have like a laptop with an HDMI output, that's another good option. A lot of people still do that for New Japan World. I know. So
I know I'm an Apple user. I just do it like something like New Japan or even like the Fight. I'm gonna have to do it on my phone and kind of cast it to my TV. So
yep, that's another good option. But Fight TV, great option for not only Ring of Honor pay-per-views, but you can watch the weekly TV show on there as well.
There's boxing, MMA, all sorts of shit.
Lots of indie stuff. Sounds like Evolve might be going back to Fight TV.
Oh, really?
After all of the they're in a big dispute with Flow Slam right now.
Oh, that's right.
And so Flow Slam is accusing Evolve and the WWN network of inflating their subscription numbers going into the deal with Flow Slam. So it's this big old mess, suing and counter-suing back and forth.
Great.
I honestly hope that the Evolve and WWN end up going back to doing their own thing and going back to having their events on a pay-per-view basis on Fight TV, because then I would actually order them once in a while, because they were like $10 or $15, whereas Flow Slam was like $20 a month.
Yeah.
But then I think they even upped it more recently.
I think it's 25 now.
Because nobody was buying it.
It's too spendy, man.
So, yeah.
$10 is the magic number.
Yeah, the Flow Slam thing is quickly falling apart. Quickly, Ring of Honor TV this week, touched on it just a little bit here, but the main event was the Honor Rumble. Winner of that gets to take on Cody for the Ring of Honor Championship next week on Ring of Honor TV. So the Honor Rumble, 20-man Royal Rumble style match. New guy comes out every minute or so. This was fun. It was a decent... A decent TV kind of filler thing. Not necessary to watch, but made for a fun TV main event.
I think it was something such high stakes on the line, though. So
yeah, and we criticize Ring of Honor because oftentimes right after a pay-per-view, their TV is not obviously up to date with what happened on the pay-per-view. Certainly that was the case here. They did a decent job trying to kind of incorporate the idea of some things that happened on Death Before Dishonor without being blatant to the live crowd and whatnot, being that it was taped well before Death Before Dishonor. So there's a challenge there. And again, there certainly are better ways that they should and could be doing it, but for...
but they're
making the best of what they have, I think, though, in my opinion, being that this is the way that they kind of have to do it, just because they don't have the ability to do live TV at this point. So it was cool to throw in this Honor Rumble thing with high stakes on the line. The big surprise was the number 20 entrant was Glacier.
Oh, wow.
So that was a bit of fun. It comes down to, who did it come down to? 4 guys, Flip Gordon, Frankie Kazarian, Bully Ray, and Jay Lethal. Flip Gordon goes for a springboard on Bully Ray in the match, but then Kazarian shoves him out. Bully and Lethal go for the what's up spot. Lethal hits the big headbutt to Kazarian off the top. Then Kazarian eliminates Bully. It comes down to Lethal and Kazarian. Christopher Daniels comes out, distracts the referee. Kazarian gets eliminated, but the ref didn't see it. Then he hits the lethal injection on Daniels. Then Kazarian eliminates Lethal, so it will be Kazarian versus Cody for the championship next week, which is an interesting story in and of itself, because with Cody winning the championship from Christopher Daniels, the whole story of Kaz and Daniels going from heels to baby faces after last year's ladder wars, back to heels again after Cody wins the championship, even though Cody's a dastardly heel himself, but the popular Bullet Club kind of
with them coming out and fucking with the Young Bucks and the Motor Machine Guns too. That's, you're fucking with Bullet Club too there.
Right. So yeah, the Addiction having big time heat with the Bullet Club.
Yeah, fucks.
After Daniel says Kazarian will kick Cody's ass and take away the title from him and the ass bag fans. That was this soundbite. This is how I liked how Christopher Daniels started his promo.
You ungrateful garbage!
Garbage! I just enjoyed the way he delivered that and called the fans ass bags.
Ass bags. I have to remember that one.
I probably should go back and get the ass bag soundbite as well, just to have that up on the soundboard for when Joe visits the podcast. I guess we can.
You ungrateful garbage!
I love the way garbage. It's just a great spot. All right, that's going to do it for this week on Strong Honor. Let's wrap it up with the Kojima tweet.
Now it's time for the Satoshi Kojima tweet of the week.
Kojima is just making his way back to Japan from CMLL. He's been there for, feels like a month or so, pretty much since the G1 Climax.
He's been helping with the earthquake, too, stuff.
Yes. So good stuff for Kojima. But so it was hard to find a lot of English tweets from him over the past week or so, but I did find one very interesting gem. So you can follow Kojima on Twitter at @cozy_lariat. Now, this tweet this week, no text, but it is basically basically 100 or so bread emojis followed by a laughing smiley face. So that's your Kojima tweet for this week. So follow this show at Strong Honor on Twitter. You can go to stronghonor.com. That's going to take you right now to bestprowrestlingpodcast.com, so you can find links to both shows there, links to social media, all of that there. We'll be expanding the social media for Strong Honor shortly, creating a Facebook page. Look out for the new logo coming soon. All of that look very soon to be on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, all of the different podcast apps, wherever you find podcasts. Coming probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks or so. Hopefully, if we get all of our ducks in a row. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to that exclusive Strong Honor feed if you can find it. And follow me on Twitter at Tommy Stryker. That's Stryker with a Y. Taco, where can people find you?
Ooh, you can follow me on Snapchat, Twitter at HGREV Taco.
And make sure to check out our other podcast where we talk about all things WWE. We're going to talk about No Mercy, the fallout from Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT, and even some Lucha Underground going into Ultima Lucha Trace this week on the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. That's Strong Honor for this week. For Taco, I'm out of here. Bye.
Peace.
It's wonderful! You ungrateful